Like the Reds, Fridays talking Reds. Gareth Roberts, Andy Heaton joining me today. International break then. That's a bit shite, isn't it? And we're not going to do that one to death because some of you moan about that. I get like everyone, everyone doesn't have to have the same opinion as me. If you're into international football, good for you. But we're going to talk about the Reds anyway. And there's a big interview gone up today. It's a Premier League Productions thing, but it's involving our very own Mel Reddy. She's interviewing Jurgen Klopp about his 3 years at the club. It'll be worth a watch, but it's also worth a read because she's written it up and it's on joe.co.uk. So give it a read there because you're helping to keep Mel in a job and all that. Not that she would ever struggle for work, but and yeah, it'll be on various shows around the world because that Premier League Productions, we've done bits and bobs with them. Basically, they film stuff and then it goes around the world in various football shows and stuff like that. It's shown on Sky, I think, on that Premier League show. So look out for that if you want to watch the interview. But some of the stuff that they got into in that interview, I thought was interesting. And there was the thing. He talks about, he goes all the way back to the start basically, and about when they got the job, the negotiations around the job, the fact that Liverpool had come in a couple of times before for him and been unsuccessful because it wasn't the right time and things like that. But what was interesting, I mean, lots of it was, you sort of know. So there was the stuff about like, he wanted to have a sabbatical, he wanted to go around the world, but when Liverpool came knocking, they changed his mind basically. But what was interesting, he said he was basically getting bored of German football. He knew all the teams, knew all the players, wanted a new challenge. And I just think it's interesting that, in general, there's a pressure on managers to immediately arrive and make a big difference, isn't there, and change the world and win things straight away. And he talks about that and he says, you come here, we play a team, let's say Hull, and I don't know one player. And he says, and for the preparations, you've got pretty much 3 days. So you watch their games. And he said, I had no idea what they do. Whereas in Germany, I knew every team inside out. So he says, that start at Liverpool was really busy because we had to learn a lot of things while also playing in the Europa League. But it was exactly what I wanted, a new challenge. But it feels like just in that comment, that's not considered enough, is it? You know what I mean? Like, you got the Arsenal manager there and everyone just goes, well, of course he should just come in and make a massive difference from day one. But it doesn't really work like that. You've got to get your feet under the table, you've got to get to know your own players, your own squad, and do your scouting around and watch the opposition and everything else. And it's like, I just think that intolerance for, a less than perfect start isn't great, is it?
No. I mean, and you always get. I mean, sometimes you get the new manager bounce that they famously talk about, don't you? It's like the first game, Jurgen was in charge. I think it was Spurs away, and you could see the increase. Everyone was trying to impress and make the effort and the blood and thunder. And I think he said that. I think I read elsewhere this week. He said, you couldn't very much say that was my team at all, but now you can very much say that that's my team. And it just shows how many sides to management there are. And it's not as simple as, some fella like the Wenger type sitting in his office with a blackboard, drawing out maps and going, if you do X, Y and Z, it'll immediately come to. I mean, even Pep Guardiola, I was really struggling to do it. Yeah, there you go. It didn't come for him straight away at Man City, and look at all the money and the facilities they've got. It's about building cultures and and also learning. I mean, he said he was bored, not necessarily bored, but you knew everything in Germany, and when there's nothing left to know, maybe that explains why it went a little bit stale for him. Because I believe, I don't know what you think about this, but I think he's a very different manager, not completely different, but I think he's a very different manager to the one that walked through the door at Anfield 3 years ago. Absolutely, and he says that himself. He says, I'm a much better manager now than I was 3 years ago. And he said, I've said it a few times, I have no idea when we'll win something, but I'm sure this club will win something. I don't know when, so let's have the best time of our lives until then. Let's enjoy the world, let's enjoy football, let's enjoy the journey, and it's what we're doing. Let's have a good time type of stuff. But I agree with you in that. I think he's changed as a manager since when he first came in. I think he sort of tried to rile against the English culture a little bit. He didn't want to rotate. Now he does rotate. He's got a bigger squad now. I remember him talking about sort of wanting like almost a small squad that they're all getting a game, and he didn't really seem to be into the idea of players who aren't involved that much being around the periphery, because I remember him talking about it being difficult to manage egos and players and all that. But he's adapted and he's realised you've got to have that big squad, you've got to rotate. We're seeing now as well, a stronger defensive side to the team as well. So he's definitely changed, and it's interesting that he himself thinks he's a better manager. I totally agree with him as well about the idea that you just enjoy the ride, you enjoy the football, and everything doesn't fall off a cliff if you lose a game. I mean, he talks himself in this interview, and do give it a read. I don't want to give everything away or give it a watch.
or do both. But he talks about sort of the idea that, you know, you lose that final in Madrid and then, okay, you just scratch the whole season off and it was all shit, was it? Yeah. And like, of course it wasn't, because we had a fantastic time, didn't we? You know, like, we've got great memories. I've seen someone, or seen a lot of people sort of posting up their favourite matches so far in the Klopp era, if you like. And lots of people were putting Rome, obviously. And it's like, you know, that hasn't gone away just because the, you know, the final turned out the way it did. Same as when you go back to like 13, 14, we had a fantastic time. This city was alive, and I remember, you know, when we beat City at Anfield, everyone comes into town afterwards, and town was absolutely, but you saw everyone you knew on the streets of Liverpool having a bevy, having a good time. And okay, ultimately we don't win it, but at that time, in that moment, we were all having a great time. And it's not just about what comes at the end and when the silverware is given out.
No, it's, listen, don't get me wrong. The year that Liverpool do win the title, I don't think we'll ever come home, will we? But it's just as much about the journey as it is the destination. And I'm a strong believer in trajectories. If you can see improvement all the time, if you can see players improving, putting the effort in, you can see a direction of where it's going, then great, because generally, upward trajectories generally lead to success at the end of it. And you look how many times, I see it, and the one that it makes me laugh, it doesn't frustrate me, it makes me laugh, is this thing about who's been here 3 years, you know, where you haven't won anything and blah blah blah. Yeah, fine that, but at the end of the day, we've been to three finals, haven't we?
Lost them all, but
lost them all. But you know what? Finals, toss of a coin, whatever. Got beaten by possibly the most successful club sides in Europe in the past decade, 15 years in the final, thanks to a wonder goal. One of our best players getting injured. To go through the details again. We just run out
shootout against City.
City, and then in Basel we just run out of steam. But you know what? We got to the final, and one of these days we'll win one, and then when we've won one, we'll go and win another. So I'm fine with it.
Absolutely. I like as well that he talks about the fans and he talks about the enthusiasm in this city, the feeling around it. I mean, he talked about that from day one, and that's one of the things I really like about Klopp, is that, you know, not all managers are respectful or acknowledge the fans the way Klopp does. And he talks about, you know, again about the sort of the West Brom thing, and when we get that equaliser and he walks over to the cop and then there's a huge fuss about it. And he says, you know, maybe he misinterpreted a little bit like what the culture is over here. But I'd still defend them on that. I'd still say, I get that it got up the noses of the R-asses and they were like, you know, why is he doing that? What's that for? That's a German thing, not a Liverpool thing. But he was just trying to say the positive atmosphere in the ground that day influenced the match, and he does believe in that massively. He goes on about it again in this interview.
I mean, on this, and I know we can't help but hark back to the great Bill Shankly, but he was the master at it. Yeah. So when people say it's not a Liverpool thing, Shankly wasn't doing all this stuff with the crowd when we were winning everything. It was broadly when we were building, when we were trying to ascend and trying to achieve, trying to get everyone on side. So I don't understand, even the allies amongst ourselves, what the problem is. Trying to build unity. And look where we are now. Look, this is it's easy to forget just how disjointed and disenfranchised a lot of us were only a couple of years ago. And for the first time in a long, long time, it feels like there's a connection there. It's not perfect. It never will be perfect. But it's a lot better than what it was. And a lot of it's down to the manager.
Yeah, it was toxic at the end of Rodgers' reign. And I remember, like, you know, the conversations about the atmosphere seemed to be sort of virtually every week at that stage. It was like, it's gone, Anfield's gone, it's never coming back. And then you think under Klopp, all the great nights and great atmospheres that we have had, obviously Dortmund, Manchester United, Villarreal,
PSG last month.
PSG was decent. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's loads and loads and loads, and like there's loads of games as well. I mean, everyone's been doing like top threes and all that kind of thing, and I know Mo and Rob were doing them as well. I mean, one of the ones I really enjoyed was that Norwich game, which was actually absolutely mad. Norwich away, you know, when he got his glasses smashed and all that sort of stuff.
The Baywatch one.
It was absolutely superb. What a day that was. I had a brilliant time in Norwich.
I tell you what, though, you look at that team that played that day compared to the side we've got now. Bloody hell.
It's night and day, isn't it? But yeah, on the fans thing as well, Klopp says, I really wanted from the first day that the people know about their importance. In football, people always say it, that supporters are important, but then you don't treat them like that. So it's got to be a healthy relationship. We know without them we wouldn't play on our highest level. No chance. You have to appreciate that, and it's very easy for me, but it's still very different in England and in Germany. Talks about the West Brom thing, as I say. But, you know, he says, I want us to have the best atmospheres in world football, and there is no limit to what we can do. Is right.
You've only got to look what Gigi Buffon said this week about atmospheres. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter, and it doesn't affect them. You've literally got the most successful goalkeeper that's ever played the game saying he got rattled by Anfield.
He says as well, it's a fantastic moment to be a Liverpoolian. It's also positive in a not so positive world. And he says, you are welcome to be involved in any way that you want. And I say it again, let's have the best time of our lives. This is why we like this manager. He's not just a cheerleader, and he's not someone with a goofy smile and a mad laugh and a likeable fella. He gets Liverpool, he gets us. And the constant messaging about the atmosphere, about Anfield, about fans is quite right. It's what Liverpool need. It's what Liverpool's about. It's not just an ordinary job, this. It's not just Spurs or whoever. This is Liverpool, and I'm glad he talks about it the way he does. The other thing I wanted to just mention that he does say as well, and you touched on it there, is just how hard it is now. And I think this needs acknowledging, and perhaps isn't acknowledged enough. So there's some blurt in the column, in the comments, at the moment. Every single video we do puts up some shit about getting rid of Klopp and getting Gerrard in. Lad, maybe one day Gerrard will be a manager of Liverpool, but right now we've got a decent manager. Jib that comment, because it's weird. And like it's this idea, again, of like the instant gratification. You've had 3 years, you said about an upward trajectory, which is quite right. And just because there isn't a piece of silverware with our name on in those 3 years doesn't mean he's done a bad job. Quite the opposite.
Just on the Gerrard thing, and we've seen this happen before. What happens if Gerrard immediately gets a top job and fails? That's him done then. That's him done. So what? So you want to jib your operating? Listen, no, I don't expect the man I'm sat next to right now. No one would love more to see Steven Gerrard be manager of Liverpool Football Club at some juncture. But you know what? And he'd admitted himself, he's learning the ropes. So, you know what I mean? So have a little think.
Jib it, lad. But he does say again there, he says, our problem, he says, as many other clubs develop as we develop, so we might improve 20%, but so might they, and perhaps we need them to get 20% weaker. And this is the thing, and I think, lots of our conversations come back to this, but it's Liverpool could get a shitload of points this season. Liverpool could get more points than they've ever got before in the Premier League, and City could get more. And I think if that happens, though, you've got to go again. Well, look at the progress. Look at the fact in this Premier League era. Right? I hate the phrase as well, soz. But if we break 90 points, the 90-point barrier, then you have to say, there you go, Klopp's done a great job. And if it doesn't bring the title, well, it's exactly what he's just said, in that you'll have to hold your hands up and say City have been better across the course of the season, but it doesn't mean Liverpool have been shite. We've got to get rid of this weird way of analysing football. It does my head in. What he does say as well, just my final rip from Mel's interview. Sorry, Mel, shout at me some other time. But it's a dead long interview, to be fair. I think it's a 25-minute video, and then there's lots and lots of words, obviously, on a Joe piece for you to read, and it's laid out lovely, by the way, as Mel's stuff always is. So I do encourage you to go and have a go. But it's this line, and so's Mel, but it is a great line. When we win something. When we win something, this city will explode, says Jurgen. I reckon he'll come on the aisle, I honestly reckon you'll see him in town, bevied.
On the strawberry line Copperbakes.
Because,
can we mention that?
Well, he fancies it though, doesn't he? Like, we sort of heard before that he does fancy going on the aisle. He just doesn't like so much the fact that everyone starts sticking phones in his faces and he ends up in the papers or whatever, which is why I think he tends to have a pint of Formby. But he's dying to have a proper city centre bevy, isn't he? And I think if we win the league, when we win the league, Klopp's going to get on it, I reckon.
Well, we'll just do what we done with Noel Gallagher. We'll just lock motel, won't we? Have a lock in. Have a lock in. No, it's great. It's all boss. You can't even imagine it. It's like, you can taste it, can't you? You can actually imagine it for the first time in ages. Yeah, go ahead. Get on there with us, Yergs. We'll look after you.
Is right. Okay, so we do give a shout out to things that we like and things that we think are boss and stuff like that every now and again. So here's another one of those moments. We like the OneFootball app. So here's the thing about the OneFootball app. Okay, so the Anfield app has given OneFootball, an app you can get from the App Store, a shout today. The reason being is that I use that app I haven't downloaded every football app in the world, but I have downloaded this one. It works really well. It's got information about all the teams, all the leagues. You can pick what information you want and you will get that as a push notification. You can follow live matches in terms of getting notifications of goals, of big incidents, of half-time, full-time, that kind of thing. It's got transfer rumours on there as well, which we know at the Anfield app are always really popular. So there's everything on there that you'd need really, and if you go on there as well, on the App Store, you'll see that over 32,000 people have rated this app, and they've rated it so far 4.8 out of 5. Now I'm always keeping an eye on how the Anfield app's done, but that is some going on the App Store, so well done to them. And that is why we are endorsing OneFootball. Okay, so that is the OneFootball app. If you fancy that and you fancy downloading it, the link is in the description on our YouTube, the description of this very show. So click that, download it, have a go. You'll be supporting them and you'll be supporting us, because people will go, oh, your little videos that you stick in the middle of your video works. And that'd be sound, wouldn't it? So have a go. Go ahead. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about now is it is non-league day tomorrow. We always give this a shout out. Have a look at the website nonleagueday.co.uk. Wherever you are in the country, you can type in your postcode there and it'll flash up with a load of matches that are in your region. Get out there, support grassroots football, support local football. There are people who work hard to make that level of football happen week after week. They don't do it for any money.
And it's a thankless task as well.
Yeah, you know, like looking after the ground, mowing the lawn, all the rest of it, keeping the chain, you know, the whole thing. And they do it on top of day jobs, and I don't know how they do it, but lots of these clubs are really well run, and they rely so much on the people who go through the gate. So if you can get through the gate tomorrow, there's no other decent football on, as I said at the top, so why not? Do it locally for us, Liverpool ways. There's a string of games. Bootle v Berscow, Marine v Whitby Town.
On Marine, the usual offers kind of usual offers apply if you're a Liverpool season ticket, yay, or an Everton season ticket, boo. You can get in for a £5, and also if you've got a child with you, they will get in free. So get up there, Whitby Town tomorrow, up just off College Road. Nice one. Yeah,
they've extended that offer actually to if you've got a season ticket for any Premier League side or English Football League side, you can get in for a £5 as well. Also as well, you can get a half-price admission if you're in the armed forces, civil servants, NHS staff, Merseyside Police or Fire Service, Sefton Council employees and Liverpool University students. So loads of ways basically to get in Marine for a game for a £5. Also students as well. Admission to the game's free to all school children aged up to 11. And families of up to 2 adults and 3 children can attend the game for as little as £10 there. So there you go. It sounds, yeah. Another one as well, I mean, another one of my favourites locally are Prescott Cables. They're playing Kendal Town in the FA Trophy. It's £8 in for adults, £4 for concessions and £1 for children. Prescott is a fan-owned and fan-run football club. So again, they really need your money, so if you can get to that one. Other ones, Litherlands are playing Thackley, never heard of them before. St Helens Town, Daisy Hill. Vauxhall Motors have got Seaham Red Star, enjoying some of these names here. Runcorn Town have got Guysborough Town.
I wasn't sure it was a Guysborough.
Ashton Athletic have got 1874. Northwich, Southport have got York City, and Warrington Town have got Matlock. So yeah, if you can support non-league day, please do. As I say, we always try and do our bit on the Anfield wrap. It is important, it does help. And look, there's been a little story around, I mentioned it earlier in the week, but Dale Jennings, you know, once upon a time was destined for stardom. Now he finds himself back down there trying to restart his career. There's lots of lads like that. And you know, it is a decent level of football. I know some people turn their nose up, but you know, you can have a pint, it's a different atmosphere. It's also a way of watching football where you're not maybe as emotionally involved, and you can just take it in for what it is, enjoy the day, have a pint, have a chat with your mates, all the rest of it. So if you can do that, do it. Is right. That's the non-league day shout, and it's nonleagueday.co.uk is the website. Okay, a couple of things in the papers, because I bought the papers today, and a few people have been saying what's happened to the papers.
Get the papers, get the papers.
Get the papers, get the papers. So I got the papers today because I thought there might not be much going on. A couple of things to pull out from them in the mail made me laugh this. Premier League have admitted that they're powerless to stop players and coaches putting their hands over their mouths when talking during matches. Well, who knew that? And apparently, like, Sky aren't happy because, you know, they're paying all this money to cover the football. It says, a Sky source said, it's infuriating. I would imagine conversations about it will take place soon because it's angering more and more people. We pay around £13 million a match and we want to give the viewers the full experience. It's blatant and it should stop. I can't imagine we're missing out on life-changing pearls of wisdom, but it's the principle. This is entertainment. It's a game of footy.
What do you think of that, Robbo?
What a load of shit.
You know what, though? You can't have it both ways. I mean, why do you think they do when the other day Mourinho's walking off the pitch, possibly swears in Portuguese, in a foreign language, and there's all this thing, they get pulled out, and not only that, they blare his mouth out, What,
I know, it's
what
a mad one. It is,
what do you want?
It really is a mad one.
You know what, I'd make them all up, you know, I'd like to just let them have free reign.
I'm not asked. I hate as well, you know, when they show a match and someone sings, like, I don't know, a song that contains a swear word, or like you hear someone shout from the stands like you're a prick, you, or one of the players shouts fuck off ref or whatever, and they go, apologies there for the language. It's a game of footy, it's alright, we know, we all go to football matches and we hear it every week, we're alright, you know, we're not like these snowflakes, you know what I mean, who are going to start writing in saying just heard a fuck there on the broadcast. Anyway, in the Echo today, Ian Doyle has been looking at our boss keeper. I know you like your keepers, and Alisson Becker. He's conceded only 3 goals in his first 8 league games, the best record of any Liverpool keeper since their return to the top flight in 1962. So that's all right, isn't it? And then he's done a little list. So goals conceded after your first 8 games for Liverpool: Becker 3, as we just said. Karius conceded 6. Mignolet, Dudek 7, Reina, Grobbelaar, Mike Hooper, Jesus, Tommy Lawrence 8, Chris Kirkland and Ray Clements 9, Brad Jones and Sander Westerveld 10, David James 11, and Brad Friedel conceded 15 in his first 8 games for Liverpool.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to consider the quality what's in front of them in those lists. To be fair, you've got to have a little bit of context there. I remember Pepe Reina getting 10 clean sheets on the spin.
He was great.
I think second or third season, but look, it's looking positive. I've always been an advocate of, you know, the gap between the best keepers, like a group of elite keepers, and then the rest of them are like much of a muchness, and there wasn't. And I think I even said, I don't think there's any point in Liverpool signing a keeper in the summer unless they're going to go for one of those top 5. But I don't think, on any metric or any objective judgment, you can't say that it's night and day. The confidence in the ground, the calmness, you know, everything just seems assured, you know, a 0-0, you're not thinking, oh, if we don't get something here, we're going to concede in a minute. I mean, look, people talk about Liverpool's run of form over the last couple of games, but we've gone to Chelsea, we've got a draw, conceded 1 goal. Spurs, we were all right. We played Manchester City, kept a clean sheet. You can only do that if your defence and your goalkeeper are clean. There doesn't seem to be any kind of panic at all anymore. I'm going to touch wood, but there's that assurance, do you know what I mean? That hasn't been there for a while.
And Becker for me, it like almost gets us a point at Napoli. Yeah. Because we play terribly. And he tips that one onto the bar. He makes a few other good saves. He was one of the best performers on the night. And that again, even out of a 1-0 defeat, you can take the positive that the keeper nearly gets us a point. And it's sort of, I remember having lots of conversations with you as well about, you know, sort of, there's a stage where you're going, when's the last time the keeper won us any points here? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And now we've definitely got a keeper that's going to win us points.
But so it's not even that. I mean, when you talk about keepers winning points, it's also about keepers losing points. Because the argument is, oh, a good keeper will get you 9 points. Well, fine. But how many points does a mediocre keeper lose you? Yeah. And when the margins at the top are so fine, you know, you talk about Liverpool have a 90-point season. If the difference between 92 points and 88 points is first or third or even fourth, well, 75 million, or however much it costs, it's pennies. I'm all right with it. On the Anfield app then, finally then, there are still loads of things to listen to, loads of things to watch. We will be on City Talk as ever, 6:30 tonight. There's an AFQ out there, as there always is, on a Friday, and the weekend there is already out there, and that's a free show. So if you've never listened to the Anfield app, that's a good way to get into it, and it's a good one to pass on to mates that maybe don't subscribe or don't know about it, and just say, yeah, have a go at that.
It's decent. It's a bit of a magazine show wrapping up everything that's going on. Seems to be popular. But there's a big one coming up as well today. Desert Island Goals. Andy spent some time with Jamie Carragher, and it went well, didn't it?
Yeah, it was really funny. Really, really good. It should be out by the time this video comes out, actually. We had about 40 minutes. And we just had a laugh. We talked about his career. I don't want to give too much away because you should subscribe and give us some money to listen to it. But he picked 3 really good goals. We had a little bit of a laugh, a couple of digs at the Ev, which is always good value. But what I will say about the goals is the kind of punctuated his career right well. One's at the very start, one's in the middle, and then one is after he's finished playing without giving too much away. But yeah, no, great. I've had a listen back to last night, and I've had a little chuckle about it. So yeah. Have a go.
Boss stuff. So yeah, try and get out to a game this weekend. Whatever you do though, have a great weekend. Look out for more stuff from us next week, of course. And we're going to finish today's Talking Reds with a clip from that Carragher show.
How old were you when you got the Everton tattoo?
How old was I when I got it off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tattoo. Fucking hell.
When was the first time you read that?
I think when I was playing for the first team. I think I always wore long sleeves.
Because that was the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I'll never forget, it was just one of those things. Obviously, it wasn't there. I got in the shower every day with the players and what have you, but it's just these myths and actually people believe it. And I always remember I was at the academy years later watching James. So I was just there in the gym with the other dads and that. So some just sat there with my dad and some fella come over and went, "You've got an Everton tattoo, haven't you?" So I just looked at him and I had a t-shirt on. So I just put my arms out. And obviously, it was covering me bicep, if you like, on both sides. So he's tapped his biceps as if it must be under there. So then I've rolled 2 of them up. So there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And he's going, "You've still got one, haven't you?" And my dad just looked at him and he said, "Do you think it's on his fucking ass?"
Brilliant. Is it?
Yeah, that's where it is. That's where it was. Had to get it surgically removed.